Hi, I'm Kara, life coach, wife, and mom to 4 incredible and unique children. It wasn't all that long ago that my son received a diagnosis that had my world come crashing down. I lacked the ability to see past the circumstances, which felt impossible, and the dreams I once had for my life and family felt destroyed. Fast forward past many years of surviving and not at all thriving, and you'll see a mom who trusts that she can handle anything that comes her way and has access to the power and confidence that once felt so lacking. I created the Special Needs Mom podcast to create connection and community with moms who find themselves feeling trapped and with no one who really understands. My intention is to spark the flare of possibility in your own life and rekindle your ability to dream. This isn't a podcast about your special needs child. This is a podcast about you. If you are a mom who feels anxious, alone, or stuck, then you are in the right place. Welcome. Hello and welcome to the Special Needs Mom podcast. If you're new here, welcome, extra welcome. If you're not new, thanks for coming back. I love hanging out with you guys. But I shared with the people that are on my email list, as well as very briefly here. So if you didn't come for any one of 3 days right before I opened the program, you will have not heard about this. So if you're hearing about this, you're like, how did I miss this? Well, it was kind of a low-key way of sharing because it's a founding members launch. We are having a new iteration of how we're doing things. And so you had to act fast to be able to get in. And so the ladies that did are incredible and we're having so much fun. And, you know, like I said, I think about you all day long. And so creating this space for us to meet and meeting with people is, I don't know, it's kind of my dream come true. So I know I won't go on and on because you're like, again, Kara, you're like telling us about a cool party that like now we can't come to, which I think is kind of rude. But I'm telling you now because, well, one, it's been one, it's what I've been working on. And two, because I don't want you to miss out in the future. So what I would advise at this point is to make sure you are on my email list. I will eventually, give you guys more information on where and when and how you can join upcoming. But for now, the best way is to get on my email list, or you can also sign up to receive what I'm calling the Special Needs Mom Survival Pack. And so hopefully there'll be something of interest for you there, but also you'll get on my email list. And then I can harass you on email all day long. Just kidding. Only every once in a while. Okay, moving on. I mentioned I'm working hard. And one of the things I've been working on is my newest book. I know. Who thought? Some of my friends here locally are like, wait, what? You're going to a book launch? What? So more accurate to say that it's not my newest book, it's our newest book. And I am joining 8 fellow mom authors. And the name of our book is The Courage to Raise. And it's another collaborative book. So again, if you've been around a while, you'll know that about a year and a couple months ago in May, with We Are Brave Together, I was part of a collaborative book, and that book was called Becoming Brave Together. And that was a fun experience. I loved it. And so this is another collaborative book process. And as you listen to this, I'm going to be in North Carolina. Well, I mean, this is if you're listening live. If you're listening live or like right when it came out, like I am in North Carolina celebrating the launch as we speak, which I think is kind of fun. And, this is kind of a fun story because I'm recording this the week before. And so I'm anticipating flying to Atlanta, Georgia to drop off Levi, my son, at a brain tumors survivor camp. And I had planned to stick around the area because of his medical profile. And even though the staff is absolutely amazing, I'm just blown away by everybody. Levi's body doesn't always behave, especially when traveling. So I want to be close by should we have any issues that require any more interventions than they'll have at the camp. And so I had planned this, and this is kind of, scheduled on our calendar. And I have a friend who happens to have purchased a publishing company called Hope Books. So I mentioned this specifically because if you're listening and you've always dreamed of writing a book, this would be a great organization to connect with because he is all about supporting new authors in writing and publishing their book. So Brian Dixon is the CEO. He would be a great person to connect with. And my husband and I have been good friends with them. Gosh, our whole marriage. We met in our young marrieds group at church. So that's kind of fun. So he reached out to me and he let me know about this opportunity to contribute to this book. And I wasn't an automatic yes. I was intrigued, but what you may or may not know about me is that writing is really hard for me. To give you a little bit better picture, I started college by taking remedial writing. And let's be honest, I still can't spell. I really never got that down, which is, fine because we have all the tools that we have now. But that's just kind of where I'm at, right? And it's like I have enough to say, so I have to push through the difficulty of writing, but it is not something that is like a love of mine. I don't love to write, but I do love to talk to people. So that didn't draw me. And yet I was intrigued. And the reason I was a yes ultimately was the appeal of being among this particular group of women who also said yes to this endeavor and having a reason to dive deeper into community with them. And I just thought, this is going to be the best opportunity to meet these other 8 individuals who have, there's various disabilities, there's various ages, there's various faith backgrounds. And I just thought how cool to be able to kind of go on this little journey together and get acquainted with them. And so then you see how this is working. How cool was it? The launch is in North Carolina, like I said. And how cool was it that I was already going to be in Georgia? The timing worked out. And if you don't know, I'm from San Diego. So traveling from San Diego all the way over there is kind of a big deal. And let's just be honest, I have a little bit of travel anxiety. So getting on a plane it's a lot for me to travel, to leave the comfort of my home. I don't do it all that often. And so I was already going to be out. And so the fact that this lined up, I just thought, you know what? How cool is that? And what I will also share is that I'm really proud of the chapter that I wrote. And I really do hope you'll get the chance to read it. And that's ultimately what this episode is about. It's about telling you about the opportunity to buy the book. And if you don't buy the book, that's okay. I'm going to leave you with a few nuggets here. And actually, I will be bringing a variety of the authors onto the podcast so that you can get to know them. So I mean, I do encourage you to act fast and buy the book now, but maybe it'll be one of the other authors that you resonate so deeply with that you think, I have to get the full chapter or the full picture. And what I wrote about in this chapter, so I signed up for this book project thinking I have no idea what I'm going to write about, which is always a little concerning, especially when there's deadlines. But I actually do very well with deadlines. So what I decided to write on, or what I kind of settled on, was essentially taking a tool that I had developed all the way back when I first started working with special needs moms. And I remember the conversation with the person that I was working with, where I then got off the call and I developed this. And the document that I developed was called Tolerating the Intolerable. And essentially, it's a game plan. And I broke it up to 3 stages of the game plan. And, you know, it's kind of bringing humor to some things that are really hard. And the idea is that, you know, part of our lives, the part that we would say is intolerable, we have these moments or seasons that are just unreal. Like if you step back and you look at them, you're like, holy mackerel, this is unbelievable. Like really, if you step back, you'll be like, wow. And yet we survive them. And if we're a little bit ballsy, we have the audacity to say, we don't just want to survive, we actually want to thrive. Like we're still committed to all that we want, not just surviving. So I used this framework, the game plan, and developed it for the chapter that I wrote. And also I wrote about a story that it's pretty funny. I'm going to say it's pretty funny. It wasn't funny in the moment. But the beginning of the chapter is a story from a day in the life. And I'm trying to think of something to like tease it out. So you'll be like, oh, I have to read the story. Let's just say there were multiple officers in my home. Let's say that. And so I'm going to leave it there. So you're like, whoa, I got to hear more. But back to the chapter. It was actually a really fun experience once I got into writing it, like, you know, after I got through the messy middle. And it was one of the first times that I thought, you know what, I might have a whole book in me, particularly because I had to be really selective of what I did and didn't include, because really I could expand the framework that I put together to be so much more. But I wanted to give you just like a little taste. And this part actually didn't end up in the chapter, but I looked back at this document, and now, I mean, I created this now like 5 years ago. So it's been around a while, and I've always been meaning to kind of do something more with it. But one of the things I did, right? So if you're going to think about a game plan, and like think about football, and like they have these game plays, and they have names for these plays. And so I kind of use that to come up with the ways that we could support ourselves in these moments that are just what I'm going to call intolerable. And so I have this example of one. And so if you are a mom of a person who is explosive and or violent, you're going to really like this one. So the scenario is you got explosive behavior when people may be harmed. So this could look a lot of different things. So the protocol or the play is focus on moving everybody to safety. So in my personal experience, it's not just my physical body that could get harmed. It's also the bodies of my people, of my other children. And the other part of the protocol and play is decide that people are the only thing that matters. You will leave behind material items. So this is like this premeditation of what you'll do when the explosion happens. And the play name is called High Ground. Isn't that kind of fun? Okay. There's also a play called Tunnel Vision. And there's also a play called Skedaddle. And that word just makes me laugh. And like I said, this part did not make it into the book, but I don't know, it was too funny not to share. So I wanted to share it here. And I don't know, I mean, I do not mean to make light of these really hard moments, but I do intend to bring levity to these parts of our life that are no fun at all. I don't see why we can't have fun as we address and work through these issues. So it's kind of how I roll. So I'd love for you to go buy the book. It will help support me and it will help support my fellow authors and hopefully help support you in some way. And to buy the book, it's an easy Amazon order. All you'll need is to go find the link in the handy dandy show notes area of this episode. Or also, I'm just realizing now this as I talking about this, that you could go to Amazon and type in my name and it'll probably pull up because I'll be listed as an author. Or the name, The Courage to Raise. So that's all we got. That's all we have for this week. See y'all next week.